Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Amma ba'du. Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the merciful, the beneficent one, who has been giving us blessing and mercies so we can attend this course in good condition. Alhamdulillah. Salawat and salam be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has taught us the right path to attain happy and prosperous life in this world and the hereafter. Ladies and gentlemen, audience of the course, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Lila Pratiwi from University of Muhammadiyah, Professor Dr. Hamka at Jakarta. I will be the moderator for this session. The course on Islamic psychology is held in collaboration of the University of Muhammadiyah Surakarta, University of Muhammadiyah Professor Dr. Hamka at Jakarta, and the International Association of Muslim Psychologists, IAMP. Today is the second day of the course. I would like to express my appreciation to our brothers and sisters who come from all over the world. We have South Africa, Uganda, Nigeria, and India, Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, UK,
Pakistan.
Participants who overcome the challenge of time difference. That is very happy to know that. And of course, to all audience from Indonesia. Yeah, participants may come from various background and various interests and understanding of Islamic psychology. But I believe we all came with the same spirit, that is to have more understanding on the matter, Islamic psychology. During presentation, committee will invite audience to write all questions at chat box. Later, after Pak Bagus deliver his presentation, I will help to read the question. And I believe that we must have had the same opinion that this is an interesting topic. So if time permits, we will try to offer two-way discussions after answer question session. So we all know Pak Bagus. This is a second day, so I may only state a little about Pak Bagus curriculum vitae. He is a president of the International Association of Muslim Psychologists. He also a faculty member at his alma mater, University of Gadjah Mada at Yogyakarta. Some of his significant achievements is formulating a meta theory in the field of motivation and developing and conducting short courses like today we are attending is on Islamic psychology. He also developed the Tazkiyah therapy as an advancement of cognitive behavior therapy. Hopefully all of us attend the first day. So I will have a brief resume, a very brief resume of the previous sessions. Session 1 is Islamic psychology as a science. Difference with the general science is Islamic psychology holds an Islamic worldview as a basic principles. That is very beautiful. It is basic on the Tauhid, the Aqidah, Islam as Rahmatan lil Alamin. On the second session, Pak Bagus also remind us the purpose of Islamic psychology, that is to seek the true happiness fi dunya wal akhirah. It is also difference with the general science or general psychology, purpose of general psychology, that is to overcome some problems. And now, at the session 3, the third session, we will have the material, the discussion about Nafs as focus of study. So I may not conclude too early difference with general psychology. The subject of Islamic psychology is Nafs, soul, the soul, where the general psychology, the subject of the study is behavior. So it is, we have some discussion about it yesterday, but and we hope this session, following with another session today and up to the 4th day of the course, will have comprehensive understanding, will give us more understanding on the Islamic psychology. So let us not wait for long. Please, Pak Bagus, you may begin to deliver the presentation.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh. Billahi ta'ala min shururi anfusina wa sayyiati a'malina. Innahu may yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa may yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarika lah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma sholli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajmain, amma ba'du. Alhamdulillah, we meet again today to discuss deeper about the focus of the Islamic psychology, which is the Nafs, something that is not explicitly considered in the conventional psychology, but actually they cannot deny this, because even though the conventional psychology doesn't explicitly say but that they are studying about the nafs, but they use the term self, and identity. Self and identity actually also refer to the nafs, and in conventional psychology they also have the term of human faculties. Human faculties actually also characteristic or a potential of the nafs, So actually they cannot get out of it. They cannot get away from the nafs, but they just don't want to accept and they want to confess that they are studying the soul, but they because they don't believe, so there's something that blocking their idea, their thinking, because they don't believe, but they cannot get away from it. That's one thing that we should understand. In Islamic psychology, for us, talking about the soul or the nafs is no problem at all, and even in our religion it is very important to understand ourselves, especially about our nafs, yeah, because this is the core. And in other language, actually, what we mean by the nafs is the heart, is our heart, yeah. So it might need a separate topic, yeah, to discuss the relationship, the connection between the qalb, the nafs, the fu'ad, and the ruh, yeah. Maybe that will be another topic, but right now I would like to focus on the nafs, and I would like to share with you how we can construct a theory, a psychological theory, scientifically based on Islamic science about the nafs. And we can see that this theory confirm our day-to-day perspective about ourselves and about our life. Inshallah, that is the purpose of this presentation. And of course, nobody is perfect. I have to declare that what I will present to you is my effort to construct the theory, and maybe some of you have other ideas and maybe have critics. You may express it. So I suggest you, if you have question while I am presenting, you just write the chat, so that after I finish, your question can be addressed. Okay, so let me share the slide. All right, so I would say that the nafs, yeah, the nafs is the core as a human being, because it is in our heart, yeah, and it is also our identity and our potential. So human being have all human beings actually have this potential, but when they live their life, sometimes they don't develop this potential optimally, so that what makes us different. Yeah, but the potential is the same. All human being has the same potential, and we can say that this is part of our fitrah, that is endowed by Allah to us, that is the same for all people, all human beings, but it is up to us how we should develop this. And this development, later on we will discuss about that. It is the tazkiyah. Tazkiyah is the development of our nafs. Of course, there's also have a meaning of purification. So when we say tazkiyah, we don't just develop, but we purify, developed in a clean way, developed in the true path. Yeah. So it's not just developed, but also purified. So that's our job in this life. But the potentials, it is granted by Allah in the form of potential. Potential is something that is not manifest yet. Okay. All right. So this is what we are trying to share with you, and I will first present you about the logic or the method of how we can understand our nafs and construct a theory about it, so that we can apply it in our daily life, also in our in therapy, and also in our daily life. Okay. All right. Now, first we go back to the how we understand the Nafs, how we can learn about the Nafs from Quran, so that we will apply the method that we refer to Surah Fusilat, the first number 53. So in this verse, Allah said that Allah already spread the signs of His Majesty in the universe and also in ourselves. And those signs or those evidence that can be studied empirically will show the truth of the Quran. Okay, so in this sense, we have two approach actually to gain knowledge about everything. And also especially today we are going to talk about the Nafs. We can do from the Quran and then do some empirical study, from the universe and from our experience, our opinion, our awareness, the phenomenological study, in ourselves. Or we can use the approach the other way around. We study about ourselves, about the nature, and then we try to make sense of it with the Quranic message. Okay, so this ayat actually has two approach. The first is what we know as the inductive approach. So we start with observing the evidence in the universe and in ourselves, psychosocial phenomenon and the natural phenomenon, and then we synthesize it and we constructed it to be validated by the Quranic messages or Quranic verses. Or the other way around, we can start with the Quranic message, and then we will do the empirical study to see the evidence of this Quranic message. So this approach is called the deductive approach. And we can also integrate them. So we can have the integrated approach doing the inductive and deductive in a certain way, so that we can confirm and reconfirm. There's a term in qualitative study. They call it the back and forth study. So you go back and forth. You read the Quran, you see the evidence, and you back to the Quran to confirm what is the evidence confirmed with the Quranic message. And then with doing that, you will develop your knowledge. Because when you so it requires both, three. It depends on the discipline. If your psychology, you focus on your nafs, your experience, your thinking, your emotion and things as an empirical study, and then you study the Quran so that you will understand the grand theory about it. But if you don't understand psychology, it's not enough just to study the Quran and then develop the Islamic psychology, because it has to be two-way. So you have to master the state of the art of psychology. So you will be familiar with the terminologies in psychology, and then you study the Quran so that you can connect and you can see how the Quran guide you. Okay, so it is mentioned in the Quran actually. If you don't have sufficient knowledge, it's difficult to understand the Quran. So, or the other way around, to understand the Quran, you need some knowledge, some ilm. Because if you study the Quran without ilm, without having sufficient knowledge, then there's a risk that you will misunderstood the Quran. Okay, so that's why we have to have two approach in developing Islamic psychology: the knowledge about psychology and the knowledge about the Quran, and also hadith, of course, because hadith is part of the command of the Quran that we have to learn from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is our uswatun hasana. So it's the example, it's the example or the application of the Quran is in the behavior, the saying, the thinking, the hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So we have to interpret them as one package, yeah, because Quran was taught to us through Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam by behavior. So that's why it's not enough only imagining or just studying the Quran and just imagine how it should be practiced, but we have to also learn about how the Quranic verses is practiced by Rasulullah. So that's the connection. So we are avoiding, by this approach, we are avoiding to refer, we are avoiding to be trapped in a false hadith, and those, there are many saying that is told to be hadith, but actually it's not. So we have to be careful about that. And actually, to really understand that, we need ilmu hadith also, yeah. But at least we have to be careful when we hear somebody say a hadith said something like that, because we have to understand what is the Quranic background of this hadith, so then we can connect. And that is the first step. And then the second step is how we can connect the phenomenon in our life, yeah, with the Quranic message. So we have to also do study research on the field that we are focusing on, like psychology, so that we can understand the Quran more, because we have the knowledge, yeah. Okay, so this is the method, the deductive and inductive approach, back and forth, yeah. For this theory about Nafs, this understanding from the Quranic explanation or message, yeah. But then I will understand that with my knowledge of psychology and knowledge of a human being is in general, maybe not only psychology but also biology and things like that, so that we can see that the Quranic message has meaning in our understanding about human beings psychologically. Okay. All right. So there is a term that is called constructing the subject. So this is what we are trying to do. Yeah, we have to construct. This is actually the skills or the competence that was taught to the Prophet Adam. When the Prophet Adam was taught about mentioning names, that means that Prophet Adam is taught to do abstraction, because if you give name to something, that means you make abstraction of that thing. Okay. This is also applied. I just want to give you another example applied by Al-Khwarizm. Al-Khwarizm is transforming mathematics, actually arithmetics, yeah, that is talking about number, into some abstract idea about what is called as variables, something that varies. So when you talk about algebra, you don't talk about numbers anymore. You talk about variables. You talk about the abstraction, not the thing, not the material. Okay, so this method, this approach, this competence is something that is taught by Allah to the Prophet Adam, meaning that all of us have this capacity to do abstraction. Okay, that's why in the message of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the hadith, when you name your children, you have to have abstraction. You have to name them as a purpose, as something that you want them to be. That's also an abstraction. So, you know, some parents that doesn't really understand the message of these names, they just name their children from the day they are born. For example, somebody is called Kliwon, for example, because he's born in the Kliwon day. That is not no abstraction in there. That's just history. Yeah, that's just there's no effort in constructing the hope, constructing the expectation about this child. So when you name your child like Abdullah, you have the idea about how should this child be in the future when they grow up. You have to be Abdullah, servant of Allah. So you have ideas about the name. So this is the abstraction. So when you say name, it's just not name in general, but abstraction has an idea behind it. Okay, so this is a method actually already taught to the Prophet Adam, so it's not new, but it is also acquired, adopted by the scientific discipline until today. Okay, so I just want to share with you the steps here, how we can construct a subject. When I talk about subject, mean maybe first the concept, and then a number of concept, a group of concept, and then we build a theory. So there are stages, yeah, in constructing theory. Okay, after we do abstraction, then we will use our logic that in general science it is called the sense making. Yeah, actually sense making is also an abstraction, but in the next level we are using our logic. Yeah? I learned from my Ustad, Ustad Ali Abdul Munim, that the meaning of fu'ad of ida, yeah, is logic. So human being is also have grant by Allah the ability to think logically. Yeah, so that's what we will apply this to the process, the method of constructing a theory. And then we have to be sensitive also to the context, yeah, to the context. So when we talk about psychology, so we can say that this is the context that we are talking about is about the nafs. Okay, why is it important? Because the Quranic verses can be applied in every context, can be applied in many contexts, in multi-dimensional contexts. So when we don't have sufficient knowledge about the context, then it's kind of difficult to understand the message of the Quran. So that's why one ayat can be translated into the different kind of context in our life. Some ayat may be concerned with the natural events. some with psychological events, but some can be applied to both. Yeah, because when the Quran said about ourselves, about our nafs, about human being, sometimes it has the metaphor of the nature, right? Like the trees, yeah, the rain, the how the tree grows, how the tree can be, from a dry land, when you give them rain, then it will grow. And also how the heart is like a rock, something like that. So this context, we have to have the knowledge of this context, so that when we read the Quran, we can understand it from our discipline. Okay, so this is the third step. And then the last step, I would say the last in this scheme, but maybe if you learn from other reference, maybe they have different step. This is what I understand so far. We can make a metaphor. So what is the metaphor to us? Metaphor is a tool to make us easier to understand about the concept. Okay, remember that when we talk about the concept, it's something abstract. And when we use metaphor, so we use the example of the real life that is easier to understand for us, for other people also, about this concept. So that metaphor is very important. And if you study the Quran is full of metaphor. Okay, because the Quran is a message for all of us. Okay, so the metaphor will make it easy to understand. All right, so this is the 4 steps that we will use in constructing the theory about nafs. Excuse me. All right. Now, what kind of verses that we can refer to when we want to understand the nafs? You
Pak
can,
Bagus.
yes.
Pak Bagus, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Some of the audience have difficulties listening to the presentation because of the background noise. So I need to remind some of us who has maybe background noise to turn off the speaker.
The microphone, yeah.
Microphone, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, Pak Bagus. Yes, please.
All right. So maybe I will move closer to the microphone. So, all right. So we can choose, yeah, from the Quran any ayat that explains about the nafs, as long as we can make sense of it, as long as our logic can understand it and can explain it. And I choose the story about the creation of human being. Why? Because when we talk about the nafs, we also talk about the potential. The potential is something that is that we are born with. Okay, that we are born with. That's a potential. So so we study, we learn from the creation of the Prophet Adam as the starting point, because that is the basic of human being, the basic framework of human being, and also the, what you call it, the what do you call it in English? Yeah, cetakan. Yeah, what do you call it? The fitrah, maybe. Yeah, the basic reference of all human beings, because all of us is called Bani Adam. All of us is inherit the nature of the Prophet Adam. Okay, so that's why I start with the creation of the Prophet Adam, that was started by the creation of the body, of the jasad. Okay, the jasad is the body. And when we understand it in the context of psychology, what is the potential of the jasad, of the body, then we will find that the body has this senses, has this sense, you know, has this vision, has this hearing, yeah, potential. All the five senses is related to the body, right? So this is the first variables or dimension, you can say, the first dimension of human nerves, that they have senses. And if we confirm to the Quranic verse, we go back to the Quranic vision, with hearing, yeah, and also with logic, with afida, sama, basar, and afida, yeah, with hearing first, and then vision, and then logic. Okay, so it connects. So that's why I said it's a back and forth. Yeah, you see it from the empirical, the evidence of the empirical phenomenon, our body, but then you go back to the Quran to confirm it. Okay, so the hearing and the vision is the property of the body, but then there is a logic. The fuad, afida, is the property of the heart. So please be aware that when we talk about heart, we talk also about the soul. And if we talk about the body, it is also connected with the soul, because the body was not alive before Allah, insert the ruh in the body. So the body is alive because of the ruh, and the ruh in the body blend with the body, so it becomes the nafs. Okay, so this is the soul that we will study. We are not studying the ruh, we're studying the nafs, yeah, like I mentioned yesterday. Okay, so when we talk about the body, it's the living body, not the dead body, right? So that's why it has sense. It has the capability to see, to hear, to feel, to touch, yeah, to, to, what do you call it, the tongue, how do you call that, to taste, yeah, things like that. Okay, to smell, yeah, that's the senses, the five senses. So that's why then we conclude that the first human potential, the first dimension of the nerves, is the sensing dimension. Okay, the sensing dimension, that's the first and the most superficial dimension, because it's connected to the body. Okay, this is how the nerves connect to the body, they create senses. So that's why the outermost layer of the nerves is sensing. Okay, and this is also understood by the conventional science as the tools to collect data. So when you watch the video about science, they will start with senses. Yeah, human being use their senses to collect data and things like that. Okay, sensing is something universal, something that is explained by the Quran and have evidence in the empirical world. Okay, so that's why this is part of our the first part of our conclusion about the nafs. And then we illustrate this sensing into a circle. So this is a metaphor. Yeah, this is a metaphor. So this is the like the skin, the skin that has something inside. Okay, so this is also mentioned in the Quran, like uh, there is your nafs is like a place to put something in, so like in our daily language, yeah, something they say something like, don't keep it in your heart, yeah, jangan dimasukin hati, yeah. It means that heart has something inside it. So this is this circle with the hollow inside. It is the metaphor of this place to that has something inside it. Okay, so this is a metaphor. Okay, and then after the Prophet Adam is alive, yeah, it made alive by Allah by putting in the ruh in it. Then Allah teach him about names. Okay, so the teaching about names, it means that Allah, you can say in computer word, computer metaphor, you know, you activate something in the you know, in the human being, yeah. Nabi, the Prophet Adam as a human being, activate something, install something, right? So this, what is it that Allah installed in the Prophet Adam when he teaches him to mention names? So if we learn from the discipline of science, yeah, names is a symbol. Names is a symbol. Names is an abstraction of the material. So it's not material, but it's the abstraction of it. And names, the abstraction, something that is abstract, indicate intelligence. So that's why when you you know, when you make a intelligence test, IQ test, the more abstract the test is the better, right? Because if you put words in it, it will be culturally biased. So that's why the best intelligence test is the abstract one, meaning that if you are able to understand the abstract thing, you are intelligent. Okay, so that's why the first layer of the human soul is intelligence that was installed by Allah at the time when he teach Adam, the Prophet Adam, about names. And Allah does not install this in the angels, because when the angels ask about the names, they say, I don't know, you don't teach me about that. I only know what you teach me, right? The angels say something like that. And that's why Allah command the angel to prostrate to the Prophet Adam. But then there's Iblis. That's the next step. Okay, so actually, so we conclude that inside the layer of sensing, there's reasoning. So reasoning is the essence of intelligence. So reasoning can mean reason, yeah, you have reason to do something, or can be reasonable, you know, you have purpose in it. So reasoning is the word that I think is fundamental and universal for to express to represent intelligence. And interestingly, this is also part of the first article of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So this is fundamental to human being. It says that human beings are endowed with reason. Okay, reason. So that's why the second layer is reasoning. And now after that event, the next event is the presence of Iblis. Yeah, the presence of Iblis, who reject to prostrate to the Prophet Adam. In that level, I learned this from a professor of mathematics from Kansas University, who is a mu'alaf because he read this verse of the Quran, because it represents his life experience. Yeah, he said that the existence of angels and Iblis teach the Prophet Adam about good and evil, about morality. So after the Prophet Adam is installed with intelligence by the ability to mentioning names, then Allah installed in him the morality, differentiating between good and evil. Okay, the good and evil, and also explain why is Iblis evil, because he was arrogant, right? He doesn't want to prostrate to Adam because he thinks he is better than Adam. So arrogant is the representation of the evil. Okay, that's why there is a hadith that if you are arrogant, Allah will not accept that. Okay, it's a sin. If you are arrogant, it's a big sin. It's not a simple sin because it's the representation of evil. Okay, so because of that event, then the Prophet Adam understand about good and evil, and it is called a morality in our terminology. Okay, so this is the three basic potential of our nafs. We have sensing, we have reasoning, and we have morality. We have a sensing that can detect the materials, yeah, the shape, the smell, the whatever, the sound, yeah, and we have reasoning that can make us understand the reason and the purpose, which one is reasonable, which one is not reasonable, yeah. And then we have morality that makes us understand which one is good and which one is evil, which one is right and which one is wrong. Okay, so this is the basic potential. But then when we talk about morality, we have to go one step ahead, because when we talk about morality with those who doesn't believe in Allah, they say that morality is relative. You know, it depends on the culture. It depends on the freedom of individuals, yeah, something like that. The freedom of expression, something like that. So we have to go further. So the morality actually has two sides, two layers, yeah. The one is the social morality, and the deeper one is the deity, the ilahiyah, yeah, the deity morality. So the social morality is the one that is relative. Okay, a good and bad in a social context, it is relative. But there is a deeper morality that is not relative. Okay, and this can be referred to the Surat Al-Hujurat, the verse number 13. Yeah, so the social life is diverse. Yeah, that Allah said that Allah created man and woman, you know, many tribes and many, you know, different race. Yeah, we as human being has to learn from each other in the platform of diversity. But then the ayat closed by, but the best among those is the one who is to have most taqwa. The taqwa is the essential, the universal morality. Okay, it is connected to Allah. It connected to the relationship between human human being and Allah, and we cannot get away from it. It's the essential morality. Okay, so that's why we split this morality into two layers. The one that is social in nature, I call it empathy. Empathy is to understand others even though they are different. Yeah, something like lakum dinukum waliyadin, yeah. But then there's a conscience. Conscience is the one that connect us to Allah. So empathy is the connection of the nafs with other nafs, with other people, yeah. And then the conscience is the connection between the nafs and Allah. Okay, so that the nafs has 4 layers, yeah. The sensing is the connection about the between the nafs and the body, and then the reasoning is the abstraction, the ability to abstract. So meanings the connection between the nafs and the meaning behind the materials, connection the nafs with the meaning of something, of everything, yeah. And the empathy is the connection between the nafs and the other nafs or other people, and conscience is the connection between the nafs with Allah. So this 4 connection is the potential of human being, and every human being is born with this as a potential, not manifest yet. Yeah, we have to do tazkiyah to develop this, because if we don't develop this, then we will be trapped into tadziyah, yeah, undeveloped, yeah, undeveloped personality or problematic personality. Actually, there is one connection that is not represented in here, which is the connection between us to ourselves. Yeah, the connection between us and ourselves. That actually is the one that is called tazkiyah, that we have to know who we are. We have to ponder, we have to contemplate about who we are. Yeah, we have to evaluate ourselves, we have to do muhasabah. Those kind of discipline actually is in the context of the connection between us and ourselves. Okay, so in here it is not represented because I don't know how to represent this in this one diagram. Yeah, maybe this is the limitation of this theory, but at least we know that there is something else that we cannot put it into diagram, but we put it into another dimension, like the developmental effort is the tazkiyah. The next step of this potential, the dynamics of this potential to grow is tazkiyah. Yeah, so it's not in the same level as this for potential. All right, and then because all human beings have these potentials, this level and layers of potentials, then it's like other living organism. Yeah, it's like a radioactive material. These potential have radiation, have energy to radiate into the life, that we call as the freedom or the behavior. Yeah, the behavior actually is on also the radiation of this potential. Okay, like since you have senses, so you can smell something good and then you eat it. Okay, so that's the behavior, is the effect of this sensing. But sometimes you reason about something and then you do it or you don't do it. That's also behavior, that is the effect of the reason. And also empathy, when you see other people, you feel touched by them, and you feel that you have to help them, and then you do it. So behavior is also can be also the impact or the consequence of this empathy. And also, of course, the conscience. Yeah, when your conscience will tell you what to do or what is not to do, will tell you to communicate with Allah, to do prayer, and then you do it. So that's the behavior. So this is the behavior is actually the effect of this potential. Okay, and then in our life, we can refer back to the previous presentation yesterday, and it is also represented in the story of the Prophet Adam. You know, in our life, when we, you know, choose our behavior. Oh, sorry, I have to move back a little bit. Well, okay, I jumped, so I have to explain this first. But this behavior, yeah, can be misbehave if we don't have all the four potential working in order or working in balance. Yeah, so the healthy behavior, the good behavior can happen, the good deeds, yeah, can happen if all of these four potential is working in balance. But when for example our conscience is weak, yeah, or insensitive, then our behavior becomes misbehavior. Okay, we will misbehave. Okay, and it can become worse when we also lose our empathy. Yeah, we are losing our empathy, or our empathy becomes weak. Then we also have the worst behavior, and also when we have the reasoning weak also, then we have also even worse behavior. So those who do not want to seek knowledge will have this condition. You know, their reasoning will be weak. Yeah, this is what is called jahil or jahiliya. They they don't want to know, they don't want to learn, they don't want to know. Yeah, this is a very bad. So that's why in Islam, seeking knowledge is wajib ain. Yeah, compulsory. It's not option. Seeking knowledge is not only by going to school. Yeah, you can learn just observing by observing the universe. You know, you see the sun, the moon. This is done by the Prophet Ibrahim, by the way. He learned from the nature. Yeah, so when I say to learn, to seek knowledge, it doesn't mean only by attending courses or go to school, but it's activating your reasoning potential. Raise question about what you observe. Raise question about things that you can observe from your sensing. Okay, so then you will know why, and we will understand the purpose and things like that. That's the reasoning. If you don't do that, then what you have is just the sensing, meaning that you have is just the body. So that's why they're saying that there's some people that is living, but actually they are dead, meaning that they are just body. There's no inside the body. There's no heart. There's no reasoning. There's no empathy. Yeah, and also there's the Prophet saying that someone has eyes that cannot see, someone has ear that cannot hear, someone has heart but cannot understand. Okay, so that person is only body without the light of the soul. Okay, so because of this situation and condition, or because of this possible condition that we that can happen to us if we don't do tazkiyah. So this will this will make us make mistakes. Yeah, but then Allah already gave the solution about that. Even when we make mistake, Allah said that we have to do tawbah. Yeah, not just apologize. Tawbah is we change ourselves, we change our personality, we transform into a new personality. Yeah, a new person. The very famous example is Umar bin Khattab. Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab, he did tawbah and then he changed the whole personality. Okay, So that's the illustration of Tawbah. And in the Quran, there's a one surah, number 9, the Surah Tawbah. It's very important. So Tawbah is very important. Okay, because that is the one the one that will save us from our mistakes. Yeah, and that was also illustrated in the first human being in the first experience of the Prophet Adam before he was sent to earth, yeah, to perform his duty as Khalifa. Okay, so this is also the happen to us that we have to be aware of, and we have to act accordingly. Yeah, we have to do tazkiyah. If not, then we will be trapped into the misbehavior. And behavior actually is what we understand as the freedom to choose. Yeah, it's our behavior. It's the energy of it's the psychological energy that make us do things. Yeah. All right, so this is the concept of the Nafs and its dynamics, and from this we can understand how people are different, yeah, and also we can understand how some people have a psychological problem, but also we also can understand how we can cure that. So they become a better person, or they heal, yeah, so that we can help them to heal themselves. Okay, and also this theory, actually this construction, yeah, can explain about the first ayat, the seventh ayat of the Surah Shams, that said that Allah already perfected the creation of the nafs, because this is, we already have this in ourselves, in all human being, but then it is up to us how we develop this. Are we going to be grateful? Grateful means to aware of it and optimize it, and we perform this effort, the mujahada, yeah, to do the tazkiyah, yeah, and so forth. Okay, and this cycle is this our life cycle. Yeah, we already explained that on also yesterday, that we have to face in this life as a test. Actually, our life in this world is a test to prove that we are entitled for the great reward of heaven. If we cannot pass this test, then unfortunately, yeah, then we will be sent to hell. Yeah, so that's why Islamic psychology is a knowledge, a body of knowledge that can help us to realize this and can make us healthy psychologically, spiritually, yeah, in this world, and gain the great reward in the hereafter, inshallah. I mean, okay, so we can, you know, apply this theory into our daily life. Yeah, the function of the theory, first to describe, to explain, to predict, and then to control. So this is the application of this theory. We the model, the diagram is the one that describe us, you know, what is the part, what is the layers, what is the components, yeah, and then we can explain about why the behavior sometimes is misbehavior, yeah, what should we do to make our behavior healthy, yeah, and the predict is to see the future. You know, if we do this, then this will happen to us. And if we have the knowledge of these three elements, then we can make we can do the control. We can control ourselves. We can manage ourselves. So this is the taqwa. Taqwa is controlling. Yeah, taqwa is being careful. Being control. Get away from problem. Yeah, to be prudent, to be in control of ourselves. That's a taskya. There's a verb. There is taqwa. Yeah, there is taqwa, to control ourselves, not to be not to cross the line, not to cross the limit, not to be excessive. Yeah, that's taqwa. Sorry, taqwa. And it is also one ayat that I know is saying about this in the Surat An-Naziat. The word is something like nahan nafsa anil hawa. Yeah, to control your nerve from hawa. Hawa is the excessive behavior, that will bring us in the path of fujur. Yeah, that's hawa. The nafs is the soul, the self, is the core of ourself. Yeah, that can be managed to take the path of taqwa, or if we don't manage it well, it will take the path of fujur. Okay, so this is also the prediction, and also how we should control ourselves. Okay, I will stop here so that we can have discussion and question and answer. So I give back the time to the moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Masya Allah. Alhamdulillah, Pak Bagus has present the subject of nafas as focus of study. And we already have here some question, Pak Bagus.
Yes.
From Akim Kazim Olainka, our brother from Nigeria. He stated that also when you are talking about the nafas, he right here also the potential interface with the devil is not captured. Maybe you can also discuss that too, sir, as that would get us pre-informed on how to guard ourselves from the evil of the devil. Shall I read it once again, Pak Bagus?
Oh, it's okay. I understand the question.
Thank
I
you.
understand the
Okay.
question. So I will share my slide again so that you can picture it. Yeah. Sorry. The devil is already introduced to us since the creations of Adam's, the prophet Adam's, and the devil is the one who will seduce us, to become astray, to become insensitive. So first actually this is the worst, but not the first, but the worst, but that our connection with Allah is what do you call it, is troubled. What the devil do is whispering to us, to our heart, about doubt. So that's why there's also a teaching, if you have to conquer your doubts with your strong belief. So devils always whisper to our heart to make us doubtful about anything. Waswisu fi sudurinas minal jinnati wana. So the devil use or can be in the form of jinn or in the form of other human being. So the devil is everywhere. Yeah, it's around us. That's why we have to be careful. Yeah, of this waswisu visudrinas. Yeah, the whispering to the our heart. Yeah. So this is very dangerous, and Allah also mentioned how we can protect ourselves to the devil is to connect to Allah. So the conscience is the key to connect to Allah. And in Surah Al-Mu'minun, yeah, we can see that there's only those who are khushu, yeah, khushu, that can be seduced by the devil. So that's why khushu means you connect to Allah. You remember Allah, dhikrullah, yeah, connect to Allah. That's the cure, because you cannot fight the devil on your own. That's also mentioned in Surah Al-Isra, yeah, in the group of Surah verse number 61 to 70. There's one ayat saying that you cannot fight the devil by yourself. You have to ask Allah's help. So that's why the core of the nafs is the conscience, and the conscience is the connection with Allah. That's what we should strengthen. That's why we have to pray 5 times a day. We have to always do this wirid, yeah, kalimat thayyibah. Always connect to Allah. That will protect us from the devil. And we are suggested to recite, yeah, the last 3 surah of the Quran. That these 3 surah, the last 3 surah of the Quran, is also a discipline, yeah, a method to connect us to Allah, so that Allah will protect us from the devil. Okay, so this is the you know, this is the answer of your question. I hope you can understand. Okay.
Thank you, Pak Bagus. So hopefully Brother Akim satisfied with the answer, and this is to develop our discussion. Can we say that to protect ourselves from the devil is by the awareness of our conscience that we are the servant of Allah, that we are the Khalifatullah, so that we have the freedom of choice. We aware that we can be in His what do you call it, perlindungan,
protection, yeah.
Protection.
Yes.
From all of other ciptaannya. I'm sorry.
From the devil.
Can we say that, Pak Bagus?
Yes. That's actually this explain that thing. So that's why in Surah Ar-Ra'd it also mentions only by remembering Allah you can have a peaceful heart. Peaceful heart is a heart that is free from the devil's influence. Yeah. And all of these ayat is coherent to each other. They explain each other. Yeah. So dhikrullah is not just you know, reciting the Quran, but connecting your heart to Allah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Bagus. We then continue to another question. This is from our sister Sakira Alokun from Nigeria. Pak Bagus said, we need these 4 layers to manifest good behavior. How can we relate this to children? Because I see a lot of parents punish and beat very little children who obviously do not have the capacity of for reasoning yet. doesn't it seem unfair to punish or beat children for things they don't have the capacity for yet? By little children, our sister means below age. Also, according to Islamic psychology, is there an age where these potential are developed?
Okay. If you read studies about children, if you observe the children behavior, actually the first layer that is developed in children is the conscience. So the underage children always say the truth. They never lie. They lie when they have developed this empathy and reasoning. So the first thing that developed in the children, of course, first is sensing, because that's the skin of it, and then the conscience, because the conscience is because the children is still guided by Allah and the angels, because that's why they are stronger in conscience. That's why children are wiser than adults, most of them. And there's a book that the title is Everything You Need to Know You Already Learn It in Kindergarten. So and there's a book about a children's story, and the title is Book of Virtues. So the children's story is full of virtues. The children's heart is strong in conscience, okay, but their empathy and reasoning has to be learned throughout the development. So that's why it's not appropriate to punish children. That's why when you raise children, you have to talk to their heart, because their heart already know, and your job is to teach them empathy and reasoning, not to punish them. So punishment is an intervention for the sensing, actually, for the body. So when you punish children, then the development of the empathy and reasoning will be repressed. So that's why children that doesn't have a good parenting is when they grow up, their empathy and their reasoning is not healthy developed. It's not developed properly. Okay. So that's a theory. That's the idea, the concept. That's why in the Quran there are three basic values that we can apply to education and also parenting and also da'wah. First is al-haq, sabr, and then marhama. Haq, sabr, and marhama. So we have to teach them about the truth, because their conscience is strong. So we should make the conscience stay strong by telling them the truth. And we have to be sabr, because they are still learning and developing empathy and reasoning. And we have to be marhama. We have to be loving, because love is the communication of the heart. Between this heart to heart, So with love, children will develop the healthy empathy. Okay.
MashaAllah. That might be can be discussed more because we know Islamic parenting also have a basic virtue that how to raise our children, not by giving punishment, but giving examples. Us as parents may give our children examples, not punishment.
Yes, correct.
And our sister Sakira said thank you. She loved the explanation and asked about the name of the authors of the book you have mentioned, Pak Bagus.
Which book was that?
I think it's about the parenting. When
Oh,
you explain,
that actually I wrote the book, but it's not published yet. But it's still in Indonesian. Maybe later on we can translate it to
Mashallah,
English.
we are all waiting for the book, Pak Bagus.
Inshallah.
Okay, and the next we have our sister Triana, maybe from from Indonesia. She is asking, is it taqwa the same concept with resilience? Is taqwa the same concept with resilience?
It's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same. Taqwa is broader and it's more deeper. Yeah, resilience, maybe resilience is more related to sabr. Yeah, but taqwa, one meaning of the taqwa is to be prudence. Yeah, careful, keep in control. Yeah, to yourself. And resilience is more related to sabr, because sabr means you are not, you can wait, you can learn more, you can learn from your experience, things like that. That's more related to sabr, resilience. Okay.
MashaAllah, there are terms that we need to discuss, but maybe some of them are similar, but in the context we are focusing on the nafs, ya Pak Bagus ya.
Well, there's a new term in psychology called grit.
Okay.
Grit, yeah, G-R-I-T. That's also related to sabr. So sabr is also a broad concept. Resilience, grit, hardiness, adversity quotient, that's all a reflection of sabr.
I'm sorry, grit, G-R?
G-R-I-T. That's a new theory. That's a new theory, yeah.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
MashaAllah. I might read another two question. It's a bit long. Maybe it's not a question, but sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So from Feroza Ismail, I am faced with major personal challenge. A sister, 80 years senior, had ill health setting in and is delusional and hallucinating, talking about people at past as if they are present, allegedly due to a bladder infection contributing. To divert her rambling, I asked her to make zikr, tasbih, or whatever comes in her mind, like ya salam, subhanallah, etc. And I tell her to seek Allah's help and not to let shaitan preoccupy her mind. It's a new experience for me not having encountered her in this way, as although to other over 80, she is highly intelligent. Noted she calmed down considerably. I think it's a sharing from our sister, but maybe Pak Bagus have something to say about it.
Oh, okay, thank you. That's we can see it as the evidence, yeah, on how by getting closer to Allah, we can solve our problem, or we can become more peaceful. Yeah, that is one of evidence. Yeah, the empirical evidence from the anfus, yeah, the phenomena of the soul that we experience in our life. So that's is very important. That's very interesting and very important. And you know, if Allah, you know, permits, yeah, everything can happen. Yeah, that's why connecting to Allah is very important. Thank you for the sharing.
MashaAllah.
Hmm.
Okay, this might be the last question for this session from our brother Akim Hasim from Nigeria. Pak Bagus, your explanation moral and cultural relativism is an interesting one, particularly the verse you use. However, I will like to know your perspective on the evolutionary ethics. Your perspective on the evolutionary ethics. Please, Bagus.
I actually really understand the meaning of evolutionary ethics here, but I assume that this ethics is derived from the theory of evolution by Darwin. Yeah, and when we talk about the theory of evolution by Darwin, the weakest point of this theory is the worldview. Yeah, of course they have this evidence of fossils and the similarity of the shape of, you know, creatures. Yeah, that is scientific, but the conclusion sometimes it is not reasonable. Yeah, not rational. Yeah, because they have some absurd conclusion. Yeah, something like why do we like to drink alcohol? Yeah, this is, I read this in a big book, like a textbook, yeah, about evolutionary psychology. Yeah, I bought this book. Yeah, I bought this book because I'm interested in how they say psychology from the evolutionary perspective, and I read this part that explaining why human being like to drink alcohol. With this first statement, actually I already deny, because the Muslim doesn't drink alcohol, but he's saying this is something that is universal. Yeah, and then he explained, because our ancestors are apes, yeah, monkeys, yeah, and monkeys like to eat fruit, and some of the fruit become rotten, and when the fruit is rotten, there's an alcohol in it. So then that we inherit that, so that we like alcohol. So that's a textbook. Yeah, and I don't think that is rational. I don't think that is intelligent conclusion, and I don't think that is scientific, because they cannot prove it. They just do speculation about that. So that's just to explain how the evolutionary perspective has a very strong hole in the worldview, a strong weakness in the worldview. So we cannot, you know, if you talk about evolutionary ethics, I doubt that this ethic is grounded in a strong reason. Yeah, so that's why we have to use our reasoning to, you know, to perform a critical review on this ethics. Because all of us have this potential to criticize. You know, do not waste this potential. Yeah, use your reasoning capability to study this before you know, adopt it, or before you integrate it into the Islamic teaching. Okay.
MashaAllah. Can we, Pak Bagus, conclude that all the scientists, all the effort of trying to understand the universe, it's all simply the small amount of what we call ayatul kauniyah. That is the ayat Allah, bukti kebesaran Allah, that is the proof of Allah the Almighty that has built the world. While the Islamic psychology is not only the ayatul kauniyah, but also trying to aligning the ayatul kauniyah with the ayatul kauliyah. So we have the solid basic coming from the ayatul kauliyah, and then we also have the evidence from the ayatul kauniyah. While the scientific, what so-called scientific general science membatasi limited themselves into the object of what can be observed, the study of what can be observed. Okay, hopefully that will give us more understanding about the matter. We only have another 5 minutes maybe to give Pak Bagus time to take a rest before the next session. Yesterday, Pak Bagus, we have our brother from India, if I'm not mistaken, our brother Ikra Asif. We have 5 minutes if our brother Ikra Asif would like to share some thoughts. Yesterday, it is he told us he wants to share some thoughts, but the time doesn't permit. So can I ask our brother Ikra Asim from India?
Sister.
Oh, sister, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sister. May you want to share your thoughts in this 5 minutes?
Unable to speak up. She said.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I will be unable to speak up.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe we can have your thought in a chat room and maybe we can discuss it later. So I think we have some beautiful response here, Pak Bagus, at the chat box. I will read it from Aisha Flores from Philippines. Listening to Dr. Bagus, my thoughts runs back as far as my early days. In my career back then, as a psychometrician, when I was not yet a Muslim, mashallah, having converted to Islam in 203, I turned my back to conventional psychology, and by twist of qadar, I went to re-embrace psychology within the framework of Islam. In 2010 and towards the completion of my master's thesis in Islamic studies. As Islamic psychology is not yet introduced in the academy, my work can be considered as precursor to that ambition, inshallah. My question is, what is now the status of psychometric within Islamic psychology? Do we have available standard measures on personality that is within Islamic psychology framework? I think that's a solid.
Well, actually, I can give a short answer about that question because I already developed the theory of personality and also the measurement of it, and it already published in the journal Anima. Yeah, the journal Anima, you can access it in the web. Yeah, the title of the paper is the study of internal consistency of anchor personality inventory. So it's already there. So if you want to browse, yeah, inshallah, you'll find this article.
So we can find it on the journal. It's already
Of
published.
internal consistency of
Anchor personality inventory.
personality inventory.
Anchor personality
Inventory.
inventory.
Yes.
Thank you.
Maybe I can share the article to the committee so that you can share
Yeah.
it to participants. Yeah, inshallah.
Okay, thank
Masya Allah.
you.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Pak Bagus. And so we need to take a break, but for resume, I will try to. Sorry. As a resume, to move forward to the next session, Pak Bagus has proposed that Nafs has 4 layers. Nafs is a potency to make choices, and we can see from Pak Bagus' presentation that Nafs is not simply concrete or something that offer, but it's abstract or covered that has revealed by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to Masya Allah, specifically his Khalifatullah, that is not anywhere made at the other creation, his other creation. So we have come to the end of the session. I would like to say thanks to Pak Bagus and all the audience, and may Allah bless this meeting. Should there any mistake in my speaking, in my capacity as moderator, please accept my apology. Akhirul kalam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We will